Why poor people work for money, but rich people make money work for them. Imagine a race where the harder you run, the further away the finish line moves. In the humming city of Gearhaven, Alistair's life was exactly like that. Every morning, as the steam whistle shrieked, Alistair began his shift at the Grand Gear factory. He believed that the secret to wealth was simply to work faster than everyone else. His hands were always stained with grease, and his heart beat like a rhythmic piston. Yet, despite his exhausting labor, his pockets remained stubbornly light. By the end of every month, his hard-earned coins seemed to vanish into the air like wisps of steam. Every Friday, Alistair received a heavy pouch of coins. For one glorious hour, he felt like the king of Gearhaven. He would march straight to Silas's Emporium of Wonders. There, he traded his silver for things he didn't truly need, like a gravity-defying clock that floated in the air but never told the right time. As Silas took the coins, Alistair didn't realize he was actually trading hours of his life for toys that would break within a week. He was working for the coins, but the coins were leaving him as fast as they arrived. On the quiet side of the city lived Elara. She worked at the Silver Spire Archives. Elara worked just as hard as Alistair, but her pace was calm and steady. She didn't see her coins as things to be spent immediately. Instead, she viewed every silver piece as a little worker. She knew that if she took care of her workers today, they would take care of her tomorrow. While Alistair was busy giving his workers away to Silas, Elara was busy hiring her workers for a much greater purpose. One afternoon, Alistair zoomed past Elara's window on his brand new turbo-steam bicycle. He saw Elara carefully placing her coins into a glass jar labeled the Future Orchard. Alistair honked his brass horn and laughed. "Elara? You're boring. Don't you know there are new spark boots at the market? They shoot actual fire when you jump. Why work so hard if you aren't going to enjoy life right now?" He thought Elara was missing out on all the fun. Elara opened her window and smiled gently. "Alistair, you are eating your seeds while I am planting mine. Your bicycle will be rusty and broken by next year, but my coins have already started working for me. One day, my time will belong entirely to me, and I won't have to run just because a factory whistle blows." Alistair didn't understand. He shook his head, thinking she was far too serious, and sped off to find a second job at the coal depot to pay for more gadgets. Deep inside Elara's greenhouse, the little workers were very busy. The coins she planted in the blue soil didn't just sit there. They began to grow through the magic of interest. Interest was like a secret engine that multiplied the coins. One silver piece became 2, then 4, then 8. Soon, small trees with shimmering silver bark began to sprout. These trees didn't need water. They needed time and patience. Even while Elara slept or walked in the park, her money was working day and night to grow her forest. 10 years passed. Alistair's legs were now heavy and tired. His back ached from years of pulling heavy levers at the factory. His home was cluttered with broken clocks, rusty bicycles, and forgotten gadgets. He was trapped in a cycle. If he missed even one day of running on the factory treadmill, he couldn't pay the maintenance tax on his pile of junk. He realized with a heavy heart that he didn't own his things. His things owned him. He had worked for money his whole life, but he had nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, Elara's greenhouse had transformed into a magnificent estate. Those original silver coins had grown into massive trees. Whenever the wind blew, fresh, shiny coins tumbled from the branches. Elara no longer had to work at the archives. While she pursued her passions, her money trees produced all the wealth she needed. She spent her days painting, traveling to distant lands, and learning new languages. Her little workers were doing all the heavy lifting for her now. One evening, Alistair sat dejectedly on a park bench. Elara walked by, looking vibrant and full of life. She sat down beside him and offered him a glass of cool water. Alistair whispered, "Elara, I worked 3 times as many hours as you. I ran the fastest. Why do I have nothing but debt and scrap metal, while you are free? Why am I still chasing coins that never stay? Alara looked out at the glowing lights of the city. The secret isn't in how hard you work, Alistair, but in who is doing the work. You worked for money and immediately gave it to others in exchange for things that lose value. I made my money work for me. While I rested, my coins were earning more coins. You became a servant to your wages, but I became the master of mine. You spent your life buying stuff, while I spent mine buying freedom. Alistair looked down at the very last copper coin in his hand. It wasn't enough to buy a new gadget, and for the first time, he was glad. He finally saw the coin for what it truly was, not a toy, but a seed. He realized he didn't need to run faster. He needed to start his own garden. He stood up and asked Alara for help. With a kind smile, she handed him a small pot of that special blue soil so he could plant his very first worker. Alistair finally stepped off the endless treadmill. He learned that true wealth isn't about what you can buy today, but the freedom you build for tomorrow. By making his money work for him, he gained the greatest treasure of all, his time.